Welcome to the PPR channel. It is Tuesday night, so that means it is time for Southern Discomfort. So thank you everybody for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. I have with me my beautiful bride-to-be and very, very short sidekick, Bethany.
Very funny, you jolly green jerk.
Oh,
So what's on the docket for tonight?
well, tonight is our 1-year celebration of Southern Discomfort. We have been live streaming now this show for an entire year.
And you didn't have any special music planned or anything special. Typical guy, it's the anniversary, and we should just feel fortunate enough that you at least remembered, even though you didn't actually do or get anything special.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, typical guy.
Hey, Christina, welcome to the chat. See who else we have in here. Spine Ticks, hello, thank you. Glad that you're in the chat. All right. You see Dustin's comment? Bethany?
Yes, very funny, Dustin. Enough with the dumb dad jokes. Hello, Christina.
Oh.
And spine ticks. That's all I see. I don't get all the comments.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. But yeah, tonight we are going to do some giveaways for Southern Discomfort. And we also have our haunted object that we're going to talk about tonight. So I'll be introducing that in just a little bit as soon as more people get on. Oh, Christina said you and her would get along, that you remind her of her.
Oh, thank you, Christina.
So, Christina, are you short and blonde too?
No, I think she just kind of gets tired of your crap.
It could be. Maybe she hates dad jokes too, like you
They're
do.
awful. All right, they're like nails. What did the banana say to Bethany? Dustin, please. Gosh, that's awful.
Did we talk about the one I got you with about the wedding? Did we talk about that last week?
I don't remember. Yes, I think.
You did? Okay, well then I won't repeat that one. So Christina said she's short, but she has light brown hair. So there you go, Bethany.
Thank you. I'm glad that of all the things that you've known about me over the years, that the one thing that stands out to you is that I'm short.
Well, it's kind of hard not to notice when I'm like over a foot taller than you are.
Yeah, and you drive a little cute car. And
That's
I'm the one that drives the big car.
That's for work.
It's still cute. A little car.
Mm-hmm.
There's something so funny and cute about a really big person in a tiny little car.
Yeah, it amuses you, I know.
It is. It's funny.
Yeah. I do have a dad joke for you, Bethany.
No, and by the way, Christina, you're actually taller than me.
So, y'all, Bethany, she was mentioning this anniversary stuff and how I forget and things, and we had something special the other day, and so she asked me, "Why didn't you buy me flowers?" And I told her I didn't know you sold flowers. I don't think she heard me.
You said it wrong.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You said it wrong. That doesn't even... Like, I know where you were going with it, but it just doesn't come off nearly as funny as you seem to think it does.
It is funny.
No, it's not funny. It's stupid.
That's what makes it funny. Hey, PW.
That's right up there. No, that's right up there with, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? I mean, like, you're.
All right, I got another one.
Oh God, no, no.
How do you know ants are all girls?
Go on.
If they weren't, they'd all be uncles.
This is starting to feel like I'm chewing on aluminum foil. Can we please just move along?
Yes, we can move along. Hey, Kenneth, welcome to the chat. Dustin said his butt is blowing Bethany hugs. Whatever that meant. I must have missed something earlier in the chat, Dustin. Yes, Dustin, that she is as short as a lollipop guild. That actually used to be a song I'd sing to her. And she's gone quiet.
I just am marveling, I think, at yeah, just you and Dustin. Jeez.
Okay. Well, moving on. You ready to move on? I'll take that.
I don't know. I can't get over that Dustin's butt is blowing Bethany hugs. I mean, like, that doesn't even make any sense. It's stupid. Like, it's not even like, oh, look, my butt's blowing you kisses, where, yeah, and, it's another word for fart, but Bethany hugs? All right. What do you want to move on to here?
So tonight, and tonight only, during the show for the 1 year celebration. All right, this is the...
Oh, Dustin was hinting at my song. Go ahead.
Oh, your song? Okay. This is the giveaway that I have, and I'll post the link in the chat. All right, for anybody who during the show goes on to Godless right now and picks up a copy of Phantom War, it's only 50 cents for a novelette-sized story. If you buy a copy of Phantom War, and you can send it to me, screenshot it, send it to me at ezekielkincaid@gmail.com. I will email you ebook copies of Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 1 and Volume 2. And everybody who buys this tonight will get those free ebook copies, but also everybody who buys it tonight during the show will also be entered into a drawing at the end of the show, and the winner gets free paperback copies of Johnny Walker Ranger Demon Slayer Volume 1 and 2. I will sign them if you want to. And the reason I'm doing Johnny Walker Ranger is because 4 years ago, the first book dropped in February. So we have another anniversary that we are celebrating tonight with the release of Johnny Walker Ranger Demon Slayer through Stitch Smile Publications. So let me get that Godless link here. Hey, Bud Files. Y'all just bear with me for a second.
Yeah, PW, I love the art. And yes, I go quiet every time you're around, PW. You always take my breath away. And Christina, yeah, I can relate to having people in your life that, yeah, you just have to get away from so you don't end up charged with first-degree murder.
That's how you feel about me a lot of times.
No. Hey, accidents happen, breaks go out in cars all the time. People choke to death on nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen.
Yes.
Things happen.
Mm-hmm. So I posted the Godless link there in the chat. So during the show, anybody who goes on there and buys that 50-cent copy of Phantom War gets and emails me that you got it, gets free ebook copies of Johnny Walker Ranger, and you will be entered into the drawing at the end of the show to win free signed paperback copies of Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 1 and Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 2, put out by Stitch Smile Publications. So that's what we have going on for the celebration tonight. Everybody wins, but then there's going to be one lucky winner who gets those paperbacks. So that's
Are you going to read a blurb tonight?
No, but actually, to give not a blurb, but I was going to read a little bit of Phantom War so that people can get a taste, because I know I've talked about this story being something different than anything that I've written. So I'm going to give them a little taste of Phantom War to see what it is like. How's that sound? Blondie? A little delay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. Thank you for pinning it to the top, Dustin. I appreciate it. Let's see. All right.
Hello, beautiful PW. All right, which part are you reading?
I'm going to just read a little bit from the beginning of the story. So this is written kind of in an epic fantasy style horror. And for those of you who were new, this particular story is really special to me. It was one that I wrote. A lot of you know about me overcoming my alcohol addiction. It was one that I wrote in rehab on a notebook, a pen and notebook paper. And it is a metaphor for overcoming trials, overcoming addiction, overcoming darkness. And the other cool thing about this is a lot of the creatures and demons that are described in the story were ones that I had dreams of while I was in rehab, going through the crazy detox. And I remember writing the description all down. Crazy stuff happens when your brain is healing and everything. So I was like, oh man, I got to write this down. This was crazy. So the creatures you see in this story were ones that I had dreams about. So we shall, if everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and start with some of Phantom War. Are you ready, Bethany?
Go for it.
Okay, now this story is divided into 4 different parts. And like I said, it's 15,000 words. It's much too long to read on the broadcast. But I'm going to read you a little bit of the beginning just so you can get the feel of the flow and the narrative and see what I mean by an epic style horror fantasy. Part 1, The Creatures. The cool autumn night brought with it the presence of uneasiness and uncertainty. The full moon hung high in the air like a stationary spotlight, a beacon guiding the 2 lovers with its gravitational force. It pulled the couple together in ebb and flow, in high and low, just as it did the tides of the ocean. The girl with sunlit hair and black wings stood atop of the mountain, her shadow draped across the valley under the gleam of the moon like a black sheet. She breathed in the crisp night air and exhaled. Dear God, she prayed, please bring him safely to me. Let not my lover stumble, nor let fear be found in his valiant heart. Her thoughts were on the man with hazel eyes and broken white wings. She understood it would take him longer to find her since he could no longer fly. He was down in the valley, obscured by the curtain of her stretching shadow. Her heart pounded deep in her chest, and perspiration formed on her forehead. She knew what things were awakened in the valley when the full moon stepped onto the stage of the night sky. The girl had seen the creatures in her dreams and heard their wailing. She had visions of the demons and had seen their teeth. She had premonitions of the monsters and trembled at their psychic powers. Dear God, she prayed again, I hope he remembered the protective amulet, and may he be strapped with his steel and prepared for battle. She had given the man a protective amulet when they first met. It was a black cross crafted from jetstone. She sensed deep within her heart and soul the man would need it one day. She never thought today would be the day. She also knew the man was wise and would not enter the valley without his protection nor the comfort of his steel. Nevertheless, her heart feared his journey. So, under the glow of the night sun, she awaited her lover. The man with hazel eyes and broken white wings traveled through the valley under the shadow of the girl. His thoughts jumped from her to his guardian creator. His ears were attentive to every sound, and his nose picked up on a rancid scent. In the realm of the phantoms, both good and evil had a smell. The good gave off a clean fragrance of fresh linen and sunflowers. The evil stunk of rotting flesh and sulfur. The man knew if he could smell the entities of the night, then they could smell him as well. It would only be a matter of moments before they would pick up on his scent. When they did, they would awaken, seeking to spill his blood. He looked up from the valley and saw the trees. He peered through the twisted fingers of the leafless branches at the moon and thought of her again, the girl with sunlit hair and black wings. He had to get to her. Their lives depended on it. A shuffling in the rocky sand of the valley drew his mind away from her. His hand moved with a swift motion and gripped the hilt of his steel secured in his waistband. The shuffling noise ascended overhead, growing closer and louder. Then he saw them in the moonlight. These weren't the foes he expected to encounter first. From the tales of the few survivors who made it through the valley, the creatures were supposed to be the last to appear. The man drew his steel and gripped his cross amulet. Dear Father, he prayed, let my feet be swift and my blows be deadly. He let go of the cross and held his sword with both hands. A massive churning cloud of serpent-like creatures raced towards him. In the light of the moon, the reflection of their scales resembled all the colors of the rainbow. Their tails were like scorpions, and they had no face. They twisted and coiled in and out and around one another, hissing as they drew near. These were the mind serpents. They were beasts of such negative psychic power. They were able to enter the mind of a man and make him go insane. Doubt, depression, and self-loathing would take over. Once the creatures had a man paralyzed by his own self-pity and sunken into the hatred of his own soul, they would strike with their tails. The venom would work as a mind toxin, causing a man to take their thoughts as his own. Once this happened, a man would, in a fit of insanity, run his blade through his own heart. Legend had it that the number of the serpents represented the threat the warrior posed. A man of normal courage would face one, a brave man two, and a courageous man three. Never had there been tales of more than these. The man counted the faceless heads of the serpents as they approached. There were 5. The man swallowed hard and felt the finger of fear tickle at his heart. He swiped it away and prepared himself for war. The creatures were within 20 yards when they launched their first psychic attack. The mind fuck was the most insidious sensation the man had ever experienced. He always thought he was mentally strong, but now he felt himself in a tornado of negative thoughts and emotions. He dropped his blade and fell to his knees. He placed his hands over his bleeding ears and screamed, Jesus, God, make them stop. Spittle flew from his lips, and the tendon in his neck stretched as flesh-covered harp strings. The girl with sunlit hair and black wings gasped as she heard the screams of her lover echo through the valley. She ran towards the willow tree at the edge of the cliff. She parted the curtain of its hanging branches, placing one hand on her bosom and the other on the trunk of the tree. Her eyes searched in desperation for the man, but she could not see through the shield of darkness in the valley. Please, my angel, please be all right, she said between heavy breaths. The man continued his screams as the serpents encircled him. They churned and twisted, running their bodies over his stomach and shoulders. In his mind, the man saw visions of great sorrow, pain, and loss. He saw all Abaddon had taken from him, and his heart grew faint. I am no warrior, the man thought. I am no fighter. I am only a failed savior with broken wings. I am a coward frozen by terror and self-pity. Further and further, his mind spiraled down into the abyss of nothingness. But there was something different about the man the serpents were not prepared for, something no man in the valley ever had. As the man reached the bottom of the pit in his mind, he found a phoenix waiting for him. Who are you? The man asked. I am you, the phoenix said. I am no phoenix, he said. I am but a wasted angel with useless wings and a coward's heart. The phoenix flapped its wings and engulfed the man in waves of fire. No, it said, you are thunder and lightning. You are a burning ember and a flash of fire. The phoenix took flight and extended its talons. The bird gripped the man by the shoulders and began to fly him out of the abyss. The grip of the phoenix burned, bringing a sense of mental sobriety to the man. The two ascended higher and higher, causing all the dark thoughts to dissipate. The man now saw his true self. Though he had broken wings, he was a warrior. He was more courageous than all his peers and the most noble knight ever to step foot into the valley. He was a man of abounding love, a man of resilience and perseverance, a man loved by God and the girl with sunlit hair and black wings. I'll stop there. So that is a little taste of what to expect from Phantom War. Welcome, Jason Ghost Hunter and National Parks Princess. Thank y'all for hopping in the chat. Let me scroll through and make sure I hadn't missed anybody else. All right, so Phantom War, you can buy it on Godless for 50 cents. Everybody who buys a copy tonight will get free ebooks of Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 1 and 2, and your name will be entered in the end at the show for a drawing, and the winner will get paperback copies, signed paperback copies. I will mail them out to you.
Very funny, Dustin. I'm glad I'm the Oompa Loompa fiance. So, since it is your anniversary show, what do you feel like having on the docket? Do you want to talk about the story? Do you want to talk about what inspired the story? Or do you want to talk about something else?
You know, we could talk about that. Maybe it'll encourage and help somebody out there. You know, for those of you who aren't aware, I had a really, really bad alcohol addiction, and there were circumstances and relationships that led up to it that, you know, maybe one day I will be able to go in and talk about it. But nonetheless, things happened, circumstances happened. I lost a whole lot in my life, and it was one trial after another, after another, after another. And in the midst of it all, I, instead of turning to God in the midst of that, I ended up slowly turning more and more and more to alcohol. And then when I tried to quit, I couldn't, because my body was that addicted to it. But stuff happened several years ago that brought me to the lowest point of my life, and I had pretty much given up, and I was ready to check out and told God I was done. Just take me. I'm finished. And at that point, I had tried to quit. I knew that I couldn't. Things seemed so hopeless. And at that point, I was drinking almost a handle of whiskey a day. And I don't know if you know what a handle is, but it is one of those huge bottles of alcohol that has the handle on it. That's why it is called a handle. Um, and Bethany was there with me during the end of that. She saw me at my worst. Um, do you want to add anything about that, baby, before I get into the rehab part?
I'm not really sure what I could say, if that makes sense,
Okay.
right now. Is there anything you want?
No, I just didn't. I didn't know if you had anything to add. But she was there. She saw how bad it was, and it scared her. It scared her a lot. Scared a lot of people in my life. Not me. I wasn't scared. I didn't care at that point. But somehow, some way, I ended up finding the strength and the courage and the will to get up and make myself go to rehab. That was my last ditch effort. And when I was there, and I'm not making this up. They told me, and Bethany can back this up because she talked with my counselor. I was the worst case that they had ever seen. They did not think I was going to make it.
Yep, they did. Actually, your doctors and therapists, because they have to pull when you take anybody to rehab, they will pull the closest people to them to find out why you're there. Because
Mhm.
addiction is not, a lot of times for addicts, it's not about just being addicted to something you can't stop. It's usually a lot deeper than that. There's a reason that, usually pain, or you want to dissociate. Sometimes it's just because you want to or you enjoy it, but that's usually not the case. So the doctors, they want to know, why are you there? What happened?
Mhm. Yeah, and they had to put me, because I don't know how much people know, but if you have an alcohol addiction, you cannot detox on your own. It can kill you.
It's one of the only things that you will detox from that you can die from.
So they put me on all this anti-seizure medicine and stuff so that I wouldn't die while I was detoxing. Um, Now, while I was detoxing, I knew that if I could ever get my body free from this, and that if God would deliver me, that I would never go back to it, and that I would use my story. And there's still more to come about the story at some point that I'll share more. Um, but I should have been dead when they looked at how much alcohol I was consuming for that period of time. They said I should have been dead. And the miraculous thing is my liver count wasn't even high.
What was your blood alcohol when you went in? Do you remember?
Yeah, my blood alcohol when I went in was like um 0.43,
Which basically means that half of his blood was alcohol.
and I was still alive.
Yep.
I didn't die.
His psychiatrist and doctor was like, how he's not dead, I have no idea.
So God was with me. He was protecting me. He wasn't finished with me yet. He had a plan and a purpose. And I started detoxing, and I knew that most addicts, it takes them 7 or 8 times through rehab to get sober. I knew it was only going to take me once. That I was done. That if God spared me from this, He wasn't finished with me, no matter what I thought previously. that he was not done, that he had a plan and a purpose in all of this, that he allowed it all to happen for a reason, and that he was going to use my story to help inspire others. And so my victory and my freedom, I attribute to God, to Jesus, to my family, to Bethany, to the doctors and the therapist in rehab. And since I got out, I have not touched a drop of it since. I continue to walk in it. God continues to give me victory over that every day. And I say this to anybody out there who may be struggling with any form of addiction. Um, if I can overcome it with the grace of God, you can. I don't know if words can get across how bad I was. You would have had to have seen it for yourself. Bethany was there. She saw it all. And she stuck by my side through all of it. And so I'm forever grateful for that. So anyway, all of that said,
Actually, what stuck out for me at that time, it was actually the before rehab. Yeah, you were gone. You were totally unrecognizable. But what stood out for me when we would talk and visit during rehab, when most people are detoxing, they have nightmares and delusions. And the ones that he had were so vivid and terrifying. And I remember you were reading them off to me, and I really encouraged you to write them down.
yeah, I have a whole notebook full of stuff that's just absolutely crazy and terrifying that I wrote down, that I'll use at some point. But the creatures and the demons and the stuff that you'll read about in Phantom War came from when my mind was healing. But I got a whole notebook full of other stuff that is just the good thing is I got some gold stuff for stories, man, that I'll
But
eventually one day incorporate.
that's actually the one thing that I can honestly say are the most terrifying stories are the ones where it's not just people who detox from alcohol, but even people who've had really bad psychedelic trips, or they've talked about the delusions they saw during like a drug overdose. They're absolutely terrifying. I've
Yeah.
never come across anything that would be that terrifying, especially because they can become so real that you'll question reality.
Yeah.
So I found that pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
And the other thing too is all of my stories and stuff that I had published up to that point were all written, either buzzed or loaded. Um, and so I was really kind of scared if I would be able to write sober. Uh, because we joke about Stephen King being a much better writer when he was coked out and on alcohol. And so I had this legitimate fear that I wouldn't be able to write anymore. And so Phantom War was my attempt in rehab to sit down and to see what I could do sober. So I think it was after I had detoxed. I don't know, was it my third week in rehab that I wrote that story?
Yeah. Your first week, you were still pretty out of it.
Yeah.
The second week, uh, same thing. Honestly, it wasn't until week 3 or 4.
Yeah. Now, the thing with anybody who, if you have loved ones out there who are in rehab, or if you bring them to rehab and they detox, and when they come out and when they go to outpatient, one of the biggest things to realize is that it takes about 2 years for the brain to heal. And during that time, as the brain is healing, there's going to be emotional ups and downs all over the place. They're going to be hit with depression and anxiety just seemingly out of nowhere for no reason. And that was one of the things they did a good job in preparing us for while I was in rehab and then in outpatient, was that this is going to happen while your brain heals. Don't let it catch you off guard and make you go back to dealing with the depression and the anxiety the way that you used to. And so that was a truth that really helped me hold on to those times where the emotions were up and down and healing. And then you don't have the alcohol or the drug there to suppress everything, all the hurt and all the pain that you were trying to run from, all the betrayals that had been done to you. And so they start to resurface, and you have to deal with them in all of their rawness, and that takes a healthy amount of courage to face that. So it's not just getting sober, it's staying sober. That is the real test. And it's also coming up with a plan to stay sober. And that's what I spent a lot of my time in rehab doing, coming up with a plan, saying, this is what I need to do, this is what'll work. And I've stuck to that plan, and it has worked. And it's to the point now where I can be out in public and be around alcohol and see it and not be tempted, not be scared, not be fearful, because it's no longer on my radar. It's no longer a craving. It's no longer a desire. And for me, alcohol has lost its beauty. Now, I don't think drinking is a sin. But when I go back into my mind and think about it, I don't think about the fun times I used to have with it. I think about those days before I went into rehab, when I was pretty much overdosing on alcohol, drinking and throwing it up, and then drinking more, and just the smell of the alcohol just coming out of me and out of my pores and everything. That's what I associate it with in my mind, and that's what I'm never going back to. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I do want to say that even for the close friends and loved ones, you do have to watch very toxic patterns. The whole wanting to save them, you can't. You also have to watch that the relationship does not become codependent. I do recommend to anyone, no matter the addiction, if you are a friend or a loved one, to go to an Al-Anon meeting, or to find one of the like, to at least sit in on a couple of them to kind of understand the mindset, and to have your own support, because to see him before rehab, I don't know, it's hard to formulate. How do you describe watching someone that you love and care about totally give up and just be done? And you're watching them use something, not because so much they're an addict, but because they're done.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's even like, now, I mean, there is a lot of stress, but that's actually why, Dustin's basically like Zeke's brother. That's the one who, even behind the scenes, it's like, Dustin's a good support. So is Vickie and yobaby Tanya. I mean, having that kind of support and family is essential to anyone going through that.
Yeah. So, here on the 1 year anniversary show, we're kind of pulling the curtains, let you see behind the scenes, a little view into the Holy of Holies. Now, you may have noticed the title of this show, Southern Discomfort, and we have the alcohol bottle on there and entitled Southern Discomfort, a play off of the bourbon Southern Comfort. And I did that for a reason. It wasn't to glorify alcohol, but to kind of use it as it is a symbol of what I've gone through, what I have overcome, and it is a part of my story. Almost like why Batman calls himself Batman and has the bat. Kind of the same thing here. So that's why it's pertinent, and fits along with what we're talking about and why it's even brought up, because that is what is behind having the alcohol bottle and the name Southern Discomfort. So for those of you who maybe ever wondered why would an alcoholic have, or a former alcoholic who's trying to stay sober, have that as their their artwork, that is why it represents what I have overcome. And everything that I am about now is all about, and Dustin and I talk about this, facing the darkness, overcoming the darkness, overcoming evil, not being afraid of it. And that is what this is about. Not fearing your enemies, not fearing your foes, not fearing what you have gone through. That's where the bravery and the courage and the strength comes in. So we like to laugh and have a good time on the show. We think that laughter is great, and you hear us joke around all the time. We do paranormal stuff. We talk about spiritual things and theological things, all kinds of different content. And we rarely get super serious on this show. So this is kind of one of those rare instances where you will see me super, super serious about it while I kind of talk about these things. But that is why we have the Southern Discomfort label.
Actually, what I love about it is it reminds me of a lot of the paintings that people will create that are representative of their addiction or their anxiety or their depression, or as I call it, the inner demons that we all have that want to see us fall.
Yep. So, anything else, Bethany? I'm going to kind of switch gears here. If anybody else has any questions or comments, I don't want to move on, or if you need any advice, maybe you have somebody in your life who's going through this. If anybody has anything, go ahead and put it there in the comments before we move on. But did you have anything else, Bethany, that you think I should add?
I'm
Maybe
thinking.
I'm forgetting.
I'm thinking. The problem is there's still a lot that we can't divulge yet.
Yeah. You're welcome, National Park. I'm glad to be able to share it. But while we're switching gears, because we're going to go ahead and switch and talk about our haunted object for tonight. But just wanted to remind everybody again about the giveaway. You can get Phantom War for 50 cents on Godless, and you'll get free copies of Johnny. And if anybody buys it, we'll do a drawing here at the end of the show to win free paperback copies of Johnny Walker Ranger Demon Slayer. But let's switch to our haunted object for tonight. Now, this is one that many of you are probably going to be somewhat familiar with.
This isn't like the one time that you said that you caught a ghost in the jar and really all you did was just blow cigar smoke into it and then fart in the jar and release it and say, look, you can see the essence.
Do you realize what happened last time you said something like that? What happened last time when you said, was your guest real on the show, or was it just some sock puppet you
All
made
right,
up?
okay, just move on. Just ignore it. Just keep going.
Remember
Just
that,
hit
Dustin?
the gas. Just keep driving. Keep going. Don't stop. Just don't acknowledge. Come on. No one acknowledge.
No,
No.
that's the other thing we can celebrate is we
God.
have incorporated sock puppets on Southern Discomfort and on this channel.
Wasn't even
Only
a sock
paranormal
puppet. You
show.
actually used a dollar store bag as to represent my hair. That's
There
what
it
you think
is.
of me.
We're
That's
gonna
how you view me. Is that?
we're gonna
Wi-
break them out.
No, come on. Like, can we just haunted object, not that god awful.
Nope. Now this is Bethany's sock puppet. This is Burn It Beth.
That's how you see me, inflamed and with a
With
dollar
blonde
store
hair.
bag. That's
Yeah,
how
see?
you see me.
It's a dollar store bag that I use for her hair, and then there's like fire on her chest. This is Burn It Beth.
That's what you think of me.
She
That is how you
she
see me.
is the resident cook
No,
of the
apparently
PPR
not all of
channel.
us can be the fairest flowers of them all.
So yes, but it did not start with Burn It Beth. It started with Zekes Freaky. All right, this was the sock puppet that I made for me, and he's got
Y'all
the hair.
notice that has real hair here, people.
No, it's actually yarn.
Whatever. At least it's better put together
He's
than a
got
freaking dollar store bag. You have buttons.
and a ZF for Zekes Freaky. So Zekes Freaky was born because Bethany had the audacity to ask me if one of my special guests, because we do guests on the show at times, was real or a sock puppet. So I ended up making sock puppets because she said that.
Let's just move on to the haunted object. Just don't even stop for gas. Let's just power through this. Go.
So we celebrate the sock puppets. There, you got to see them. We'll be breaking them out later this year. Dustin and I've got some things in the work that we've been talking about, more stuff we can do with the sock puppets. Yes, Christina, I would say some ghosts are a lot nicer than people. Bethany and I were talking about that today in a way, actually, about the living being more frightening than the dead.
Well, actually, no, what we were talking about, to be precise, was how a lot of the stories are born out of people's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
And that is more frightening than any being.
Yeah, the human mind is a scary place. I mean, I experienced that similar thing with the addiction. Very much so. All right, so transitioning out of the sock puppet era of the show, let's now get into our haunted object. And we try to do this every week on the show. I think last time I ended up missing it, but we've been pretty consistent about it. Now, I've got pictures, and the one I want to talk with you about tonight is this one. Anybody know who this little character is? Do y'all recognize? this
I know
doll.
who it is.
It's real. He is in a museum in Florida. They made a movie about him as well. No, Christina, this is not my picture, but yes, this is. All right, this is Robert the doll. These were pictures that I found of Robert the doll online. Now, there is a movie, it's a B movie that is on Tubi, and it's actually pretty good that you can go watch about Robert the doll. Now, this story about the doll goes all the way back to 1904. And it centers around a guy by the name of Robert Gene Otto. And it all started when he was 4 years old. And sources say that in 1904, some young girl of Bahamian descent gave him this life-size doll. And it's made of fabric and stuffed with straw. And they think she gave it as a gift, or some people think maybe he did something and it was retaliation or whatever. But Otto became enamored with this simple looking doll, and he ended up naming it after himself. He named it Robert because his name was Robert Gene Otto, so he names the doll after himself. And he builds the doll his own room when he gets older. This in an attic, and he makes furniture and toys. And you see that teddy bear that Robert is holding? That was his own teddy bear that Otto gave Robert. Now, as the relationship between Otto and Robert progressed, he began blaming Robert for anything that he himself had done. And so there was almost like this enmeshment that happened with Robert and with Otto. And, it's one of those fascinating stories with, is there something paranormal going on with this doll, or was it just extreme mental illness? But anyway, Otto began to blame Robert for everything negative and bad that began to happen in his life. And gets older. Gene Otto gets married and to a lady named Anne. And one day they return to their house. And he had this doll with him all the time, and it really freaked his wife out. And he would take this doll and he would prop it up against the southwest window of their suite, where they would usually kind of go to escape the turret suite. He would just prop that doll up there in this window. Really, really, really kind of creepy. And reports go on. This doll is in a museum now, and there's been reports about people seeing the doll move when they had it in this inn in Key West. Other visitors describe how the doll's facial expressions would change, how he's moving around the room, how they would hear him giggling and stuff like that. So eventually, after this inn, Robert was moved to a museum because Anne loathed this doll. She wanted rid of it. So after his death, she ended up getting rid of the doll. And she wanted it stored in this cedar chest. And it ended up getting donated to the Key West Art and Historical Society, and he is now on display there. So these are pictures of Robert the doll there at the place. That's him. So there's more stories about Robert the doll you can find online and read and do some research. This is just kind of a brief introduction about him. And the doll itself was made by the Stacey company in Germany in 1904. You can see they dressed it with a sailor outfit, painted features. The doll stands 40 inches tall, so it's a good sized doll. Just to kind of give you an idea here, let me take this picture off. Let me grab Theo real quick. This is my Theo doll. I think she is about 35 inches, if I remember correctly. So Robert the doll is about her size. And, you know, I'm setting her up here. I have the computer on my bed, and when I set her here, you can still kind of see the top of her head. So that should give you an idea of how big this particular doll is. So go watch the movie on Tubi if you haven't seen it yet. Go do some more research about Robert, and it's a fascinating story about his owner. Really cool stuff. Hey, Joey Official, welcome to the chat. Glad that you're here with us. I agree. Like I love creepy dolls. They do kind of give me that creepy vibe, Joey. Definitely, for sure. And Joey, Bethany loves creepy clowns, don't you, Bethany?
No.
Yes, Bethany loves creepy clowns so much that we did some special things for her.
Bethany. Hello, Bethany. Say hi to the viewers. Here you go. Enjoy the show.
That dancing clown is creepy, and I hate that stupid music. Although I think Dustin preferred the other one.
Yeah. Let me see. I think I have to switch backgrounds to get it back to where the other stuff is. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Changing backgrounds. Oh, yeah. All right. Where is the farting one?
Yeah, full of Dustin's hugs.
Let's see. Yep, here we go.
Hello, Bethany. How
No, No, the music did not fit the clip. I hate that music. Oh, gosh, you guys picked the most annoying music. I'd rather even listen to the fart trumpets. Dustin's hugs.
So yeah, Bethany loves creepy clowns that fart.
No.
Why do you think we made those videos? Or why do you think Dustin made those videos? And I play them.
Because he has a sick sense of humor like you.
Yes, and that is Dustin's real voice. Don't
No
accuse him.
filter.
Don't accuse him of using a filter. He does not.
Uh-uh.
So farting clowns, haunted dolls, sock puppets. I guess that's how we would sum up Southern Discomfort. A year in Southern Discomfort, right, Dustin?
Yeah, I agree.
No, we did. We talked about a bunch of cool topics this past year. I mean, we looked at stuff from examining the paranormal through the lens of quantum physics. And we did a whole series on that. That was actually one of the first series we did. We looked at different supernatural entities like Satan and demons and angels, and we talked about the divine counsel of God. We had different guests on. We just finished up a long series on the 13 gates of the Necronomicon. We had some live streams of investigations. So really a large variety of cool stuff that we were able to do this past year. So anything for you, Bethany, that sticks out as kind of maybe a favorite memory on the show besides the sock puppets and the dad jokes and the farting clowns and the RVs and all of the food that you made that we posted pictures of on the show at times?
That I've never made.
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't. I'm thinking. I would say some of the guests, the stuff that talks about the stories and the books.
Well, hey, Joel. Welcome to the chat. So PW asks our next guest, actually starting in March, Women of Horror Month. I'll be having different women authors, different women horror authors on the show, interviewing them, talking with them. They'll be telling us about their books. Y'all will be able to ask them questions and chat. Lisa Vasquez, who's been on the show before, she will be back on in March too, along with some people that y'all haven't met, some other good authors that I want to make you aware of. Good authors, good people. So that's what will be coming up in March. Make sure I haven't missed anybody in chat. That's all we had, Joel. I said hello to Joel. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay, I think I've said hello to everyone. Hey, Joey asked me, have I done any research on sacred numbers and how it aligns with many paranormal and religious things? Actually, Joey, on Thursday nights, we do a show called Immortal Shadows. And I'm teaching through the book of Revelation. And I've talked about some of the symbolism that is portrayed in the metaphors of the different numbers that are used in that book. And upcoming, I think probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll actually be getting into Revelation chapter 13 and the mark of the beast and 666 and the significance of that. So yes, we've talked about some of those things in our series of the book of Revelation for sure. And that's on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Central. So you may be interested in coming and tuning in for that one. So we'll be in chapter 11 still. I did the introduction to chapter 11 last week, and so we're going to be getting into the two supernatural witnesses and what this symbolism stands for and stuff. So you're be coming in just in time for some of the good, debatable, controversial, mysterious type of stuff. So yes, PW, I feel that it is very difficult to write when you have so many other responsibilities and things pulling at you. The struggle is real. Just keep doing it when you can and persevering and keep at it. Unfortunately, those of us who do not write full time, it takes a heck of a long time to produce anything. Novels, stories, short stories, finding spare time to do that can be difficult. That's why sometimes that's what I spend my entire weekend doing, because I don't have time any other time. Anything else, Bethany?
No, not that I can think of. Was there anything you wanted to talk about or say?
Oh, hold on. Let me check something real quick to see if we're going to be doing any sort of giveaway tonight. Let me check my emails. I haven't gotten any emails. Let me check my spam just in case. Nope. So no giveaways tonight, since no copies of Phantom War were purchased. So we'll have to do that for something else at another time. But we, Christina, the email is my name, Ezekiel Kincaid @gmail.com. So if you bought a copy, just email and I will send you free copies of the ebook versions of Johnny Walker Ranger, Demon Slayer. And that, so you know, Johnny Walker Ranger, Demon Slayer, Phantom War is like, you're going to get two extremes, okay? Phantom War is super serious. Johnny Walker Ranger, Demon Slayer is not. It is tongue-in-cheek horror comedy. So if you like offensive, sarcastic humor that's politically incorrect, then you may like you'll like Johnny. It's also violent, full of blood and guts. It's really, if you're familiar with Ash versus Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, the Evil Dead franchise, it's pretty much that type of humor, that type of over the top violence. So I'll be sending you those as well, and you can read them if that's your thing. If not, send it to somebody else who you think would like them. So thank you, Dustin. I appreciate it, man. So Boo Bear, I think we are going to go ahead and wrap things up for tonight. Unless
Sweet.
you want to see more farting clowns.
I spend the night with one every night, and I'm looking at one right now.
I know you're going to be on video with me later. We pick a movie. Did you want to watch Crow's Nest?
Yes.
Okay. We'll check that one out tonight. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us in the chat. I am going to try to be back Thursday night. I'm not sure. I'm going to be taking all of next week off. I have stuff that I need to do and things to prepare for, but I will be back in March doing the interviews on Southern Discomfort for women of horror. Definitely want to do that for the people that have committed to it. So we'll definitely be doing that in March. But I will be out of pocket for sure next week. Thursday is kind of up in the air if we'll do Immortal Shadows or not. But just keep your eye out on the channel. Dustin, are you going live this Friday? Do you got anything planned? Hey, Gregory. Let's see if Dustin's got a show planned for Friday before I hit the outro music. Waiting on Dustin to tell me if he has a show planned Friday. Okay. March, April, and May, you'll be investigating 3 locations. Sweet. All right. Yes. Going live Friday. Dustin will be spearheading Hauntings and Beyond. What time is it going to be? 1 Eastern again? 12 Central? Did I get the time right? So if I got it wrong, correct me, Dustin. Oh, thank you, PW. I can't wait to read that one on Freemasons. Sweet. Okay, I did get the time right. All right, so Hauntings and Beyond Friday at 1 Eastern, 12 Central. So thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. We have a special outro video that we do at the end of every show that Dustin has made for us. So please hang around for that. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Boo Bear, you got anything to say?
Sweet dreams.
All righty.
Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind?